slightly late today because I had a last second thing I needed to do, but we are live, we're doing the thing, and I'm pretty sure, didn't we literally play Hammerin Hero last week? Well, playing Hammerin Harry Ghost Building Company today, as the first of the set of games we potentially beat today. I thought about introducing the live system that I was talking about yesterday, but I thought about it a bit more, and especially with me rushing to get set up right here at the last minute, probably wouldn't be a good idea to introduce a new system to the stream today. And I realized there might be a flaw with it. Well, a couple flaws, really. But we'll get into that more later, when more people are here to have that discussion. Now, this, as you can probably gather, is a Game Boy game. I think I mentioned that already, but I'm just going back over it again. It actually moves really well and has surprisingly strong audio for a Game Boy game based on the little bit I tested of it. I don't think I've ever seen this played through. I've seen I think it was the original NES game. I believe I saw somebody play a translation of. And obviously, like I said, we played the PSP game, I believe, last week. Yeah, other than that, I have no experience with this, so let's find out how this goes. As someone gets kidnapped by a bunch of ghosts that become a big ghost, as they are also transforming the town somehow. Don't ask how or why. I don't know if it's meant to make sense. There's also people watching it like it's a show, I guess. As a building turns evil. Attack of the Ghost Builders, Stage 1. That's one of the funniest parts of this to me, is the crunchy digitized voice there saying, "Let's get busy." Now, you'll notice there's already a very big difference between this and the PSP game, in that we actually have multiple hits of health, in addition to the helmet. All those hammers down there are our health bar, and we of course have the usual 3 lives. We can attack in multiple directions, yet again, including attacking by doing squats, I guess. You know, it's a thing. There we go, we got big mace instead of hammer. Anybody else? No? Okay. On to the next part of the stage where these guys in cloaks are coming at us. Considering it's called the Ghost Building Company, I have to assume that everything we're fighting for the most part is going to be ghosts of varying forms. Let me out of these webs. Okay, looks like we only have 1 upgrade level. We did get a life at some point. I don't know if that's because I had full health and picked up a heal, or if that was like... And that was probably the little statue thing we picked up. But as you can see, they throw a lot at you. This is stage 1, and they're already just going like, fine, we're gonna throw everything we can fit on the screen at you, and you're just gonna have to figure it out. So I don't anticipate this being easy, by any stretch of the imagination. And one concern I have is I don't know if this is a game where you continue at the beginning or not. Like, if we run out of lives, does it reset fully? And we're just gonna have to earn that together. I meant to look into that, but I failed to do so. Oh yeah, and every time you get hit, you lose your power up. Despite the fact that you have a health bar. Now it's boss time, where we just have to hammer a nail into a wall repeatedly, and don't have things fall on our head. Nope. Apparently that didn't work for deflecting him. Looks like I might have been able to just win by doing squats until the fight ends. Just gonna flex on him the fact that I have functioning legs. There we go. That's stage 1. All lives intact. We came out of that pretty well. Yep, she's still getting carried around by the ghost. Oh no, he's flattened us, I guess. The air fight. Notice that doesn't say stage 2. There's something about that. We'll get into that in a minute. Yeah, whenever I'm shooting, he goes back to normal, and then as soon as I stop shooting, he goes wacky inflatable tube man for some reason. How he's operating this plane when he's been flattened, you know, don't worry about that. It's fine. We're either gonna get through this really fast, or we're gonna get bodied somewhere and it's gonna go horrendously. Those are my 2 anticipations for how this is going to play out for us. Like, based on the little bit of testing I did where I got up to the part after this without too much issue, I feel like it's going to be similar case of we get through 90% of the game and then there's a nightmare that's going to happen toward the end that will prevent us from making fast progress anymore. Well, I say toward the end, it may very well literally be just the second half of the game goes horribly wrong. And that one's getting away. Boss time again. A bunch of creepy faces. Now, the only way I know it's taking damage is the fact that it's getting pushed back. There we go, one face down. And we just keep dodging the spike balls until it dies. When I tested this, I got to this fight with 1 hit and somehow made it through. It's really not that hard, especially since, you know, if you save that top face for last, you could just chill up there. And there we go. We got through that without getting hit. And now they dove into the ocean. So we, of course, just ditch the plane and dive in after them. Now on to actual stage 2. Is for some reason the previous bit wasn't stage 2. The ghost factory. Is everything is ghosts for some reason. Let's get busy indeed. Now we're swimming. This is where I stopped when I was testing this. I have no idea how good or bad the swimming is going to be. Considering I'm getting constantly pulled down and I can adjust it okay, I get a bad feeling about this, but we'll figure it out. At least we can defend ourselves relatively normally. It's just mobility that's a problem in the water. Because our maneuvering is very slow. Yeah, I had a feeling I was getting tagged there. Can I... Okay, that was an extra life. Let's go. God damn you. Do you happen to have health in you? You do. Give me that. Thank you. Well, that was very rude. Alright. Okay, despite the fact that that was definitely well below the water level, it seems I'm just allowed to have dry land here. That's good. Full power, let's go. I just need a helmet. And I lost my power up immediately. You can also quake the ground. It seems like that's just a stun, though. You'll notice it does make them stop moving. That guy had teeth. Oh, so does this one. Get stunned, idiot. Oh, we got conveyor belts now. And bombs. Just juggle the bomb away. At first I thought they were like old zombies with walkers, but no, they actually have like tread legs. Oh, I might fall. Oh. Okay. Let's go. There we go. I was right thinking that I was meant to go in there. I just didn't get the exact right angle. So is this a teleporter maze already? Or is it just like a series of doors? Okay, their projectile is destroyable, but you gotta actually, you know, hit it properly. I'm not sure what they're spitting at me, but I don't like it. Shock and surprise. Yep, there's first death. Oh, that's great, that there's even a digitized ouch when you die. Still, it taking us to stage 2, technically 3 to have our first death. I'm not that upset, honestly, considering the rate at which we were dying in the PSP game. And of course, you know, it's the falling in holes that got me killed. That's tradition fulfillment if I ever heard it. Oh, they're spitting eyes at me. That's what they're doing. Okay. Ooh, a helmet, thank you. Just need to refill my health now and we'll be in business. Just tank it with the helmet so I can get across there without incident. Let's go. Last time already, I guess? Yep. Oh, I need to hit bombs back to you. With good timing, I suspect. Based on the fact that I can't seem to harm it. Oh, this kind of sucks a little bit. And, oh, there we go, now it got hurt. Oh, it also charges at me. Okay. Good to know, I guess? I am so dead. Wow, this took a radical turn, huh? The first stage was just like absolute cakewalk, and now this is a bit of a nightmare. Though I would say that this is mostly just problematic because of it being very kind of fucky timing. And that's a lot of goddamn bombs it's sending. How are you... Do I, like, duck under that? Or should I just be standing in the middle so that as soon as it starts charging, I jump up and away? I really don't know what I'm meant to do there. Or at least not yet. They don't give you a lot of time to line these bombs up. Okay, jumping up there doesn't quite work either, because he follows you. Okay, ducking works. I shouldn't have jumped. I don't know why I did that. Answer reflex. We're genuinely gonna drain out all our lives on this fight already, aren't we? I suppose we did have too good a start. It's not surprising that things are gonna all turn against me right here. It doesn't help that I can't tell how this hitbox works. Because those bombs were sitting like right in front of it and right on it, and it didn't matter. Okay, that's one piece of information. 0 is a life. And I'm already almost dead. Like, it seems like the goal is to land a bomb on it. Which is actually not that hard to do. But the key is doing that and not having a bomb sit in an awkward spot where it'll hit you while you're ducking away from him charging. There we go, knock those bombs onto his head. Duck under that. How many hits do you take is a very good question. Oh, yep. I couldn't get back down there. They were timed so tight that there was just, like, no room to go down there. Okay, there are continues. How do continues work? Oh wow, it puts you just right back at the boss. That's actually really generous. Okay. You know what? We are in business here then. This is not gonna be bad. Like, it's gonna have bad moments, but I think overall this is not gonna be bad at all then. If even a full continue wipe doesn't mean losing progress, that's actually, like, the most generous of options you could possibly have. The only concern now is going to be, does this have limited continues that it didn't tell me? Because that could still be an issue. I'm out of position. Okay, that worked. That was iffy as hell that it worked, but it worked. Oh my god! The bomb spam is real. Yeah, I figured that was the last hit. Jesus. Okay, at least we only burned one continue. And we got through that with all the lives from that continue intact. This seems like a bad idea. Yep, we're jumping in the cannon. Harry, the human cannonball. Oh, we're just I understood why we were shooting missiles when we were in the plane. How is Harry himself firing these missiles? What is happening? This game makes no sense, but I'm so here for it. Oh, it's worth noting, by the way, this is the only other Hammering Harry game I have ready to go. The only other one I spotted immediately when I was looking around was Japanese only. I have not taken the time to go find a fan translation or anything for it yet, so... Oh, this is unfortunately all we're going to be seeing of Harry's adventures for today, at the very least. This was actually a last-minute addition to the lineup this morning anyway. Because I was going through last night and this morning looking for more things that would be viable to beat within, like, minimum 1 hour, maximum 3 hours. On how long to beat was what I was doing, as usual. Okay, that wasn't bad at all. These extra round bosses have not been that bad. It's the actual bosses that seem like they're gonna be tricky so far. Ta-da! Way to stick the landing, Harry. Stage 3. The ghost airship. I love how we are not resolving the actual, like, thing that appears on the stage screen at all, either. Okay, we got flying ghost kids. Okay, that is a hole. I thought it was gonna be, but I was like, oh, I'll land on the other side if I go right here. I can hit that guy out of the air and everything will work itself out. And then I died. This game really does like barraging you with things, though. I also don't know how many stages this game is. It was listed, I think, at like an hour and a half. I think I gained and lost an upgrade, like, immediately there. There's the ghost. Oh, I'm actually fighting the ghost now. Okay, while he's blinking, I can't attack him, presumably. That's awkward timing to try to hit him. Especially when he doesn't do what I thought he was gonna do. Okay, that was a trade. I don't really want that. Actually, keep doing that. Oh, never mind. You lose. I'm gonna assume that was like a fake out of some kind. This seems upsetting. Okay, I can grab onto those. Yeah, that's what I figured was gonna happen though. Immediate death, because I only had one hit left. Okay, those only move while you're on the rope as well, which is a problem. Yep. That does mean, though, that when they're not in the way, I can just kind of hop my way to victory. When the game doesn't eat my inputs. Yep. We're gonna be tanking some deaths here, I think. Because those saws are really big. Oh, okay, I have a grab thing and an attack. I assumed that since I had that thing above my head... Oh, I can knock them back as well. Okay. Oh, they're destructible. Okay, never mind. We're golden then. These are not as bad as I thought. With them being these giant saw blades, one just anticipates them being just like a stage hazard that you can't destroy. I'm glad I checked. Because that seemed like really brutal, but I'm like, yeah, that's believable. I could see them doing me dirty like that. So I didn't question it too much. Yep. Now we got the kids again. Over here so you can die. Oh, I think they only die if you hit them while they're, like, formed into child. That was an extra life we missed grabbing, too. Rise from your grave. It doesn't seem like these regular ghosts that are spawning a lot are dropping anything. It's mostly just the kid ghosts that give me stuff. Born and lonely, how you doing? Come here. I want him to fly over here. No, not gonna give me a power up. Okay, he's just done with me already. Hope you're doing well though, Lonely. Ah. Where's this ghost? Keep choosing incorrectly about where to go with this idea. I can just play whack-a-mole with the ghost, actually, now that I think about it. That works shockingly well. There we go. Let me in. The slamming the hammer on the entrance there, by the way, that's automatic. As nice as it would be to do that myself, it is all automated. Ah. Well, good to know that that feature's working, and I can definitely confirm that it's automatic then, because I didn't do anything to turn that on. But hopefully, once you can get your coffee, that will help. I can definitely relate on the EP today. And I appreciate you choosing to come on in after seeing that. Oh, there went the extra life again. I can't reach you if you hide over there. There we go. Lost the health, but I just didn't want to risk him hitting me off of here. Nice and easy, nice and easy. Nothing to worry about at all. Well, lost my helmet, but that's okay. That's a lot of saws. I keep reflexively hitting him whenever he approaches me. I need to let him actually, like, appear closer. There we go. Wow, the game just... Oh, that's why I lost my attack increase. I was like, why did the game just freeze there? That was concerning. Yeah, I was wondering if he was going to be able to just appear in contact damage range. Answer, yes. And I jumped right between the two ropes. Help. That's a shame. Thankfully, that first saw seems to be a guaranteed power-up, so we've got that going for us, at least, in here. And I haven't seen any sign of the continues being limited quite yet, because I feel like it should have shown me a number, but they don't always show a number when continues are limited, so I'm a little worried. The worst case, it won't take us that long to get back to where we are now, rather. So, not the biggest of concerns, but it is a concern. And that's why it's a concern, is the very edge of the rope doesn't count. And I keep forgetting that because I try to stay away from the saw, obviously. Well, such is the way of things. Just gotta get used to the way this works and work around it as best we can. Lost the power up early, so that's not a good sign. Thankfully, we do have a other life left after this, so worst case, we're not hooped. We're just inconvenienced. I was trying to prevent him from contact damaging again, and then all went wrong. Okay, we at least got the extra life one. But we just burnt it immediately. Yes, yes, ouch, I know. If I could just get there with full health and everything, we should be okay. I might just start avoiding the ghost kids, honestly, because they don't seem like they're worth it. Like, that one gives a guaranteed extra life, which is nice, but the cost seems like it's starting to outweigh the benefit there. Especially when they decide to be cheeky and shoot at me from underneath like that. Ah, I swung too early. I swung for him because I thought he was gonna have fully formed by the time I swung. Okay, got the life. You little blight on the landscape, fine. He gets to live his unlife. Yep, I couldn't keep up with both of them. What I probably need to do with that small one there is just push one of them to the side and just try to, like, get out of there rather than trying to get power-ups from them. Just gotta kind of strategize bit by bit here. Though if I can keep the increased attack when I get there, it does seem like it increases the pushback. Not all are like this, but there's definitely a lot that are rough like this. Like, this series in particular is pretty brutal. So, it's weird to say that this is nicer than the later PSP game that I had showed off last week. So once you get used to these, they're not too bad, just... You kind of just reach a point of acceptance of, like, okay, I'm going to burn a lot of lives here, and we're just gonna kind of work out the puzzle of how not to die here. this being a Game Boy game, they kind of had to cram a lot in, or at least they convinced themselves they had to cram a lot in to try to have the same amount happening while having a smaller stage count, probably. Since, you know, portable game. There went the extra life. Well... like, I know the NES game is very much in the same vein as this, with the difficulty and everything. That in particular has a boss that I remember seeing when I watched somebody play it, where it's kind of terrible. So I may very well avoid touching that game at all. There are plenty of old games that are very generous as well. Just really depends on what you're looking for. Like, unfortunately, I'm doing mostly short games here, so short games tend to be harder because they need to give you the time somehow. For lack of a better way of putting it. This was also published by a company that put out a lot of arcade games as well, so I wouldn't be surprised if there's a connection in the logic there. I believe this was only published by Irem and coded by somebody else. I just don't remember who the somebody else was off the top of my head. It was shown at the title, but that doesn't mean I remember. Especially, you know, while dealing with all of this, sometimes the brain does not fire on all cylinders. Okay, got through that with 2 hits left. That's fine. Yeah, the reason why the PSP game was so much harder is that game 1 hit and you died. We at least have 5 hits here, when I actually have full health. If this was 1 hit like the other game, I would have put this down before it even got broadcast, because that would not be happening. Beat them into a good position. There we go, I got the extra life one. Now we just wait for the other one. There we go, got the extra hit as well. Okay, we're actually in a solid position because we've got one free hit and an extra health. And of course I landed on the saw because the hitbox on those is a little deceptive. Okay, that worked out perfectly. Yeah, as far as, like, games that are less stressful because they're more generous, at the very least, a lot of, like, your mainline Nintendo stuff is pretty fair for the most part. With a couple notable exceptions, but, you know, there's always exceptions to every rule. And there's a reason why things like the mainline Nintendo stuff, like your Marios and your Zeldas and things like that, ended up as popular as they are, because they are some of the most widely accessible things in that line. More accessible, obviously, means more people are willing to give it a shot. And more people are able to actually do something with it. And there went my helmet because he shot me from off screen. I really need to stop trying to fight them from that platform. That clearly doesn't work. And I didn't get the extra life in time. This game actually probably would have been a good implementation for that life system I was talking about doing. But it also would be a perfect highlight of the flaw in the system that I'd realized. In that, if I had the life count for the game go down every time I lost a life, a game like this would be over immediately. Like, as soon as we lost a continue in that second stage, we would have been switching games. So I feel like the life system would have to be, like, per continue instead for it to function well. Okay, I can't reach that one from there. Okay, we got through that and kept full health and our weapon upgrade. And then I did the thing again, where I missed the platform. Because I hesitated. That is the best advice I can give anybody that's gonna play a retro platformer of any kind. Don't hesitate. Hesitation will be the bane of your existence. I am a very hesitant person, so I get punished for that on a regular basis with these. You just need to learn to full commit and just send it. If you just send it, more often than not, these games are designed for you to do that. So you will actually, if not be rewarded, you will not be punished for it. Like, you'll notice there, I committed and I came out of that with all of my stuff. And, like, tighter spaces like that, you have to commit or you just don't make it. Okay, I can get rid of that one from down here. We finally got past that section. Oh? Music's changing. I expected the voice line to play. Yeah, it looks like we are at the boss, though. We're tiny. I love how our hammer remains basically the same size, but we became small. That's a lot of ghosts that this thing is spamming at me. Thankfully, by the power of just kind of lifting our hammer over our head, we're mostly fine. How do I damage you, though? Am I meant to just, like, survive this? Because knocking the ghost back to him doesn't seem to work, and I can't get up to him, so... Oh, I'm meant to destroy the blimp. Okay. Yeah, because as I damage the blimp, I damage him, but I need to be careful because, yeah, I figured those were going to be death pits. I love that they pitch shifted the death sound, though, for that. That's great. So what I need to do is break it from one end to the other instead of just breaking what I can reach, then. Because if I leave myself too many death pits, I just lose. Problem is, I do need to be careful because I am obviously limiting my terrain to fight on. But thankfully, defending myself from his attacks really isn't that difficult. Okay, I don't need all of the platform to defeat him either. Very good. That was actually way easier than the previous encounter with him. And off he goes with her once again. Honestly, at the rate this game was going, I was half expecting him to ride the blimp down instead of having a parachute. Stage 4. Everybody's applauding Rumble in the Jungle. I'm anticipating that this game's gonna only be like 10 stages. I'm digging this tune. This is good. I like this. They're doing something funky with it. I like it. Uh-oh. The floor is death. The floor is evil. The floor wishes for my death. This is gonna get rough. Because you do not have much time on that ground at all. I think my better call is just avoiding the majority of them. Like I just did there. God damn it. I needed to not swing at him, but if I tried to jump through him, I'm pretty sure I would have gotten knocked back into the pit anyway. So that was a no-win prospect. Can I respawn those guys? No, because I can't move the camera back. I was gonna try to just, like, respawn this one guy and see if I could get items from him. Okay, got and lost the helmet. For those who don't understand what keeps going wrong, by the way, your movement stops in the air when you attack. Like, it hard stops you the second that hammer swings. So, every time I reflexively attack an enemy because it's near me, and I'm in the air, I just set myself up for failure. Well. Now, that's a common thing, especially in a lot of games, both on the Game Boy and even the NES. I think even some Super Nintendo games had that problem too, where there's just like a weird situation with how they coded these things, so your momentum just stops if you do your air attack. Some games obviously got it right, and you could actually do smooth air attacking, but it varies. And sometimes it's on purpose, I'm pretty sure. I have no proof of that, but it really does feel like it's on purpose sometimes. Okay, we're here with full health. No extra attack power, which is gonna be a little bit of an issue, but... Oh, hey, extra attack power. Go in the building. Time for Evil Temple. Ooh, both dropped health. Let's go. And a helmet. Alright, we're at full power. I really was expecting to miss that jump as soon as I said that. Okay, those seem to be unkillable. I just need to dodge them. I can stun them. I just can't kill them. So like a situation like that, I had to stun one of them and then just kind of get out of there. I am losing health very dramatically and rapidly, though. Yep. Okay. Thing is, after you stun them, they seem to push harder, too, which is a problem. I see why they give you full health. Oh, I forgot about the one that gave the helmet. Well. I'm betting those block guys are also going to be very good to go after. So I'm betting some of them are going to have power-ups. That seems like exactly the thing they would do here. Is hide a power-up in one of them. Oh, I got pushed into the other one! Oh, that's awful. Wait, where'd the other guy go? There was two a moment ago, when I jumped across. There he is. Ah, he gives a power-up. Nice. So I have everything again. And I lost the helmet immediately. It seems like the big hammer does stun them longer, though. And I lost it. Well. Oh, you know, that's a thought. Hit him, then hammer slam, then drop. Hit him, hammer slam, jump. There you go. That's the move. Except for when there's a brick wall of them in front of me. We're figuring it out, though. We're piecing it together. Because that's what you have to do sometimes, especially if you're like me and don't have the best reflexes. You gotta approach these things like a puzzle. Work out exactly what the moves they want you to do for it are. To get through there smoothly, instead of, like, brute forcing through it. Now, don't get me wrong. I am very prone to brute forcing my way through problems in these games, as people have definitely seen me do. Just because I give advice does not necessarily mean I will take my own advice and act on it, as I have also very significantly proven over time. Yeah, I didn't give myself enough room there. I keep getting stuck on them. Like, that's a bit of bad code on their part, where it pushes you to the side. I'd like that, but that's not really surprising. I assume they do that so as to try to avoid you getting stuck in them and getting repeatedly hit. But the downside is obviously situations like what we just saw there, where you get pushed into getting hit repeatedly instead, a different way. So it's still a lose-lose prospect at the end of the day. I didn't mean to swing twice. I had enough room to swing once up there. I see why they gave Harry such high jump height now. Because I wondered about that at the beginning. I'm like, that seems like really excessively high jump height. But it's to account for the stopping in the air when you swing, and for the way they set these platforms up later in the game. I got a health item and then immediately lost it, huh? There we go. That guy was the one that had to heal. But I also immediately lost. Yeah, that hammer stun is very useful. The fact that these guys just kept backing up from me like this, though, is a problem. Okay. Not a great situation overall, but, you know, we made it through. And we'll at least get healed. Not enough, but we'll get healed. He says, acknowledging that he really should just take what he can get. But I could always want more. Okay, I had to lose the helmet there because I made a mistake. There's a very precise timing to this to make it work the best way it can. Okay, we finally get to see what's past the wall of death. Oh great, it's more ghost boys. Okay, at least I got a heal. Okay. We're making progress. Even if I game over, we're gonna be able to make some headway. Oh god, not more of this nonsense. The spacing on that is just so bad. I hit that. Come on. Come on. Couldn't at least, like, give me a little bit of a leeway there? Oh, the checkpoint is not where I'd hoped it was either. We gotta do all of that in one go. Okay. Can't say I'm surprised, but, you know, one could have hoped. Like, credit where it's due, at least they do let you stun them. Like, this could have been infinitely worse. I need to remember that with the big mace, I can stun them for a lot longer as well. Like, I can stun them repeatedly. Technically, I can with the hammer, too, but it's a lot harder to do with any consistency. Okay, good, there isn't a ceiling. I just realized as soon as I left the ground, I'm like, you know, I might have set myself up for failure there, actually. I failed to do the stun slam. Well, I guess we're doing that again. Like, I can't even be that upset with this game so far, because of the fact that most of this is genuinely my fault that I'm dying to it. Keyword to that being most, of course. There are definitely plenty of things in this so far that have been questionable. But, like, they give a lot of power-ups, they give you attack power increases and defensive upgrades. So maybe it's just a matter of, because I'm comparing it to the PSP game, that this feels so reasonable. And I'm in a decently good mood today, too, which always helps for dealing with games like this. Like, that is another piece of advice I would give to anybody who's going into something like this. Go into it with as good a mood as you possibly can be in. Because it will actively tax that mood. I almost saved that. I screwed it up so badly at first, I'm like, wait, no, I can salvage this, and then whack, dead. Oh well. Because I talked about this before, and I think it was actually when I was doing Overwatch with the girls the other day, where there's this, like, magic zen state of tired that you can be, where things just kind of, like, wash off of you way better and way easier, and you play a lot better. I feel like I'm there today. I don't know if I'm gonna stay there. Based on how this is going, I'm leaning towards no, but, I've noticed that. Like, there's just this, like, magic in-between point. There's a few odd things I've noticed about myself, and I feel like they're not that odd. They're probably actually fairly common things, in that I am much more prone to get frustrated with something if I've gone, like, out of my way to push myself up for it. Like, if I have a bunch of caffeine before I do something I know is going to be difficult, I'm a lot more likely to get stressed and frustrated by it. Whereas if I go into it tired like I am today, for example, like we're doing right now, my performance is impeded, but also enhanced by the fact that I'm not going to get as frustrated and react to it as much. Like, there's a lot of balance points and a lot of, like, okay, what works best for this specific scenario? Decisions to make there. Like, which of the buffs and debuffs of this situation benefit the situation you're going into the most? I don't know why... Oh, wait. I know exactly why that happened. I was gonna say I don't know why the game froze there, but it's because of the hammer upgrade disappearing. I keep forgetting that that's a thing, because you can't see it half the time when it's happened. So it just feels weird. I think it also helps that nothing is going to be as bad to me as that bomb boss was so far. Because that bomb boss just spamming like 50 bombs at me was a whole thing. It seems like if I just short hop my way through here, we do a lot better. You know, till I jump too early for that. That's the one that's an issue to short hop on. That didn't go according to plan at all. I'll let that health go, because if the trade between the health and not getting the health is dying, I'll take that trade. In that I will leave the health behind to live. The only thing I really miss from the PSP game is the other jobs, so you have other movesets to play with, is the, like, one thing that these other games aren't gonna have. That was nice about that one. But of course, with the way these are set up, obviously, like, having a ranged attack, like, from the DJ or something like that would be incredibly overpowered. Is having a ranged attack to, like, stagger these crawlers, for example, would make this a non-issue. Oh, you know, I guess that's a move, too, is I just let them go faster. Like, I purposely aggro one, let it charge, and then go around it. I fucked up real bad there, though. I panicked. And that's why you shouldn't panic. You panic, you end up placing yourself in a really awkward position. And then all of the bad things you're afraid of are going to happen. Oh boy, the frames. Yeah, for those ones where one's, like, obviously ahead, the aggro one move works. But for ones that are, like, obviously back like that, you want to stun them. That seems like the move. Because now we got through there with a power-up and full health. So that seems like a much better strategy. And obviously having an attack increase made that way easier. Now we're at a disadvantage. I fucked up. Every time I jump in one of those situations, Brain immediately goes, you shouldn't have done that. Should not have done that. We do have ads coming up here in a couple minutes. Don't worry if you are worried about missing anything. We will be stopping, especially since I already drained all my water. I'm gonna need to at least go get a refill during the ad break anyway. I got greedy. I shouldn't have tried to go for the double stun. I should have just whacked him once, stunned the floor, and ran for it. But I decided that I wanted more spacing. And that situation that happened there is exactly why I wanted more spacing. But I did that thing again where I try to take the end out of the middle and it doesn't work. is when I find out that there's like a whole other move I have that I just don't know exists because I didn't read the manual. Power up. I'm surprised they let me have that one. I feel like by rights I should have fallen to my death there, but I will take it. I think the jump attack might do extra damage. So I noticed those ghosts get defeated in one hit when I do the jump attack, but not when I do the regular attack. Realized I didn't even need to hit that guy. I was like, wait a minute, why am I even bothering to spawn him? I already have the attack increase. Remember, kids, slowdown can be your friend. Can also be your enemy, so be careful how you use it. I fucked up. We lived, though. That's a hell of a time for the ads to kick in. Okay, good, the music does keep going, it's just quieter when it's paused. Then again, I don't need to pause because there's not a timer that I know of. So I'm just gonna stand here and let the music play. Can I make the jump back, actually? I can. I'll stay over here in case that guy over on the right does spawn in. But I'll be back in a moment after I refilled my drink and everything. Back in a second. Alright, I have returned. We're not quite back from ads yet. I'm just taking care of a couple things on the side while we wait for the ads to finish completely. But we will be back to business here shortly. Just want to make sure that this ping over here is not important. Nah. It's useful, but not important. I suppose to finish that thought I was talking about with the life system while we're waiting for the ads to finish as well. for those of you that missed me talking about this previously, between not seeing the Blue Sky post potentially and not being here yesterday while I was pointing out the thought, the idea was going to be to have like a handful of little life icons at the bottom of the screen there, and any interaction basically, like bits, subs, donations, raids, etc., would add to the life count. When the life count ran out, the game would change. Like, I would give up on whatever game we were playing, no matter how spiteful I was feeling, etc., as a means of people getting to have control over whether I continue playing something that may be being particularly difficult or not. Or if people just don't like the game that's being played, they could just participate in ways that make the game go away. Because I was also potentially positing the idea of letting people also interact in all those ways to reduce the life count. But I still need to work out mechanisms for that and determine how best to do that. Welcome back from the ads, everybody. You didn't miss anything, really. I was just pondering thoughts out loud to those that could hear me. The main point that you missed was just the simple fact that I'm still trying to decide how I want that life system I talked about earlier today to work. And that's part of why it's still not implemented yet. My intent is to implement it next week. Or at least a test version of it. But anyway, on with the game. Okay, maybe it doesn't do extra damage, because I feel like they take 3 hits when I'm standing or jumping with the regular hammer. But maybe there was like a vulnerability thing that I took advantage of. Okay, we got through it, that's what matters on that one. We lived through that one. Did I hit that one that was to the right there? I swear I didn't hit it intentionally, but it stopped and then sped up, so I have to assume it got hit? Because, like, every now and then you do hit things that are behind you. That's what I have to assume happened there. It's just weird that that happened. I'm waiting for the time where I miss that jump. It's gonna happen. There's gonna be a time where I don't make that jump, and I'm gonna be sad. I should have went for the stun. I didn't think to do it for some reason. And yep, I'm just botching it left and right now. I'm asking too many questions now. Now things ain't working so good no more. Starting to fall apart. It's not good. That's the buff and debuff of walking away, as well as sometimes you lose your flow. Which the concept of a flow state is still odd to me. I'm still not convinced that that's a thing that exists. But I may also just be one of those people that doesn't really, like, hit that flow state easily. And that may be the thing. Doesn't help when I press down too quickly and it doesn't actually take the down jump input properly. Because, you know, you obviously don't want to be caught on napping by crouching for too long either. seems like if you just bully them off screen, that counts. Sort of. Like, it just makes them spawn on the other side, it seems. Don't really know why I couldn't jump there. I pressed it and it just went, nah. Hang on, I need to get rid of the double ping from this server because that's just how this server works. Otherwise, I'm going to see a number 1 down there at the bottom the whole time, and it's going to drive me batty. Okay. Don't know why the hammer slam didn't happen that time. Well, technically I do know why, but not that it matters. Is the real answer to why the hammer slam sometimes doesn't happen is if you let go of down before he hits the floor with the hammer, it doesn't count. I shouldn't have double hopped there, that was a bad call. That's how I need to do that. He says, having already lost track of how exactly he was doing it before, is we were away from there just long enough that that just, like, disappeared from my brain. The fact these guys are designed to hop away from you like this is actually kind of annoying. I think there's actually less of these guys than I think, and it's just the fact that I keep pushing them off screen that actually makes it seem like there's a lot of them. Okay. Let me tell you, doing something like this after being up stupid late the previous night, not necessarily my finest of ideas. There we go. I wish I could be consistent like that with the stuns more often. That, when it works so well, just the timing doesn't seem like it has great consistency to it. I disagree with that, making contact. I pushed them just too far again. Come on! Ever since I noticed that that's a thing, it's become so much more of a problem. You're lucky the edge of your bedsheet doesn't count. It's like, that hammer grazed the edge of his nose, and it's just like, nope. As you might imagine, we're breaking past that Zen state I was talking about before, and it's no longer working. No, I ended up not spawning the top one. That's actually a move I hadn't even considered. I don't know if that works. No, it doesn't work consistently. I think only like that one spot has them desynced enough that that works. I should have hammer stunned on the way out. Oh well. We got through that with a good amount of health and a weapon upgrade. I'm not that upset. You know that upgrade I just said I had? Yeah. Turns out that didn't last long. Why won't you die? I feel like I hit you enough times that one of you should have died by now. Yeah, why? No. Something's wrong there. He definitely took more than 3 hits. Something's not right there. I think maybe if I push them off screen, they might reset their health? Which would be stupid, but I wouldn't put it past these games. And I had no chance on that one. My best shot would have been to go for another swing. But I again did the panic jump. So it just went to hell in a handbasket. And for anybody that's like, why do you keep doing that same thing again? It's like, do you understand the concept of reflexes? Because if you understand the concept of reflexes, you know exactly why that keeps happening. Because the typical platform reflex is jump away from the thing that's approaching you. Problem is, you don't always benefit by jumping away from the thing that's approaching you. And I shouldn't have done the stun there. The stun actually set me up for failure. That was a case of I had repeated the pattern enough times that it's like, okay, if I do this, everything works out. Not paying attention to the actual situation I was in. As soon as I left the ground, I knew that was over. Well, there went the weapon upgrade immediately, and there went me again. Could I stop fumbling the basic steps now, please? That'd be great. We have enough problems without me starting to just fumble every move I'm making. Yeah, you may have thought I could have jumped away as the platform left from under me. Turns out, no, you can't. Because I definitely was hitting jump, and it's like, nah. Nah, what if we just didn't let you have that? Did you consider not? Sometimes you just need a reset. Which, that's the other useful thing about those ad breaks. Despite the fact that I do not like that I have to run those ads at all, they can be a useful reset as far as the frustration build goes. Clearly didn't work this time, but that's what it usually ends up helping for. Because in this particular case, I think it may have done the opposite. Because I've now lost the momentum enough that it seems like things are just falling apart left and right. Not that there's anything to be done about that really at this point anyway. But, you know. It's something I'm noticing. Well, that was just terrible all around now, wasn't it? off timing. Yep. Like, you just lose it just enough that everything slides out of your hands. And if every stage starts taking as many tries as this is, we are definitely going to be on the hook for at least another hour. Depending on how many stages there are. Especially since I can't even get back into the temple right now, apparently. Because I've now lost 2 continues in the first, like, foot of this stage for some reason. Don't really know what I thought was gonna happen there. Aside from hopefully better things than that. And, well, that was proven wrong. Really? That's one thing I wish this game had, is a down attack. Is if an enemy's underneath you as you're coming down, you're just SOL. There's no recourse there. Like, they have to be in front of you as you come down, or you just get the short end of the stick. I don't know how I didn't get hit there, but I'll take it. Or, I should say, I think I got hit before I got the helmet, so I got to keep the helmet. So we are missing a hit, and I don't think I had... Did I have 5 hits, or did I not? I genuinely don't know. Maybe they do keep their damage, because that guy died real quick. And that might be why I was getting confused about the vertical attacks before. I don't know why I'm collecting these items right now. I was kind of hoping, like, maybe I could stack a hard hat on my hard hat. I hit too many buttons all at once there. I tried to back up, I tried to stun, I tried to attack, I tried to do so many things at the same time because my fingers couldn't decide what the solution to that problem was. Okay, got 1 immediately. And got 2. We lost the attack upgrade, but that's okay. We're at least making progress again. Okay. We finally get to see what's past this screen. The boss. Kinda figured. That felt like the end of the... Oh, no. Oh, do I need to knock these guys onto the boss? Is that the thing? Is that what we're doing here? Yep, that sure is what we're doing here. Alright. I'm glad they gave me that one, and I'm dead. I tried to thread the needle between them, because I'm like, I need to keep those then. This really feels like they're gonna fill the floor up with death if I don't just keep clearing them. The problem is, this is also gonna be a slow fight. Because if I could just attack him, we'd be able to make headway in this fight a lot faster, but instead I'm relying on positioning RNG where they have to spawn in a useful position. Like, he's not that dangerous. His attack is kind of useless. It's these little guys that I need to hit that are the danger because of the fact that I need to let them walk around a bit at sometimes. Because if I could just keep the platform clear all the time, I'd be in business. But we got it. That was still infinitely easier than the stage. There he goes. He flies really slow for how long it took me to get through there. Oh, that's just a convenient volcano that he's just happening to fly into. Okay. Avoid volcanic bombs. That's just sound advice. Can I block them? Oh, they attack from the sides. Okay. I was wondering about that, because I'm like, since I have that vertical attack, I feel like I'd be just safe. Oh my god. Okay, you can attack the boulders, though, and I should. Ah. This is gonna get real spammy, though. But at least they do give power-ups, so... These are kind of like a bonus round, almost. I was gonna say, that's a lot of attack power that I don't need. I purposely left that helmet sitting there, and it worked out very well. Ooh, those are lives. That's a lot of lives, actually. Give me all those lives. Let's go! 7 lives suddenly. 9 lives. We're maxed out on lives. Why? Where were minigames like that before? I have a sneaking suspicion this may be final stage if they gave me that many lives. Stage 5. The Ghost Building Battle. Yeah, this sounds like final stage. Considering it's Ghost Building Company, Ghost Building Battle would make sense for the last stage. Oh, of course the floor breaks. That broke really fast. How do I avoid... I see why they gave me so many lives now. Because I'm going to be losing all of them immediately. Like, how do you avoid that? I have to assume you can hit the bullets. That's the only thing that would make sense. But even that, yeah, you can hit the bullets, but hitting them's kind of a crapshoot considering the positioning. Case in point, remember what I just said about needing a down attack? Yeah. Oh boy. We've already lost 4 lives and we've gone like a foot into this stage. Like, this is disgusting. There's no, like, hidden power-ups or anything, right? Nope. And I'm betting I can't stun them, considering. Like, maybe it's possible to, like, hit them before they can run, and that might be the move? Okay, at least we're on solid ground now. Really? You also have a spread shot, huh? Okay. Please tell me getting there was a checkpoint. No, of course it wasn't. Fucking brutal. Ready down to 1 hit. And we're dead. I definitely see why they, A, gave you all those lives on the way here, and B, why this game's continues are as generous as they are, because fucking hell. This game would be unbeatable if it wasn't so generous. This is ridiculous. Like, if the platforms didn't break, this would not be so bad, but the combination of breaking platforms and the bullets constantly makes this just, like, unholy to deal with. And that's why you need to have an extra hit there, is because just trying to approach him becomes a gamble. This is the bullet speed. Yeah, see, the platforms do break immediately. Though they're not... Okay, I see the vision now. There's actually, like, a tempo to it. I don't like it still, but I'm getting it a little bit more now. You take too many hits, good sir. There we go. Oh, and you're not done either, are you? Nope. This doesn't seem like it's a fighting chase. Oh. You're a popcorn machine now. Okay. And I walked into the bullet because I thought I hit it. Please. Oh, I was gonna say, please tell me there's a checkpoint there, but, that was game over, so checkpoint wouldn't matter. Oh, boy. What's that phrase again? Right. Game design. Yep, I jumped too soon. God damn it. Like, there's a very precise movement you can do to get through there. But that is exactly the problem, is it's very precise. But at least you can, like, bully it away quickly. I didn't do the proper input, and there went all of our health, and we're dead. It's so very fast and easy to die, because you don't have a lot of iframes, either. I'm still trying to figure out if there's more than one of this thing, or if there's only the one. Because positioning-wise, it feels like there's more than one of them. Because of where it flies away from, and where you immediately find it, I feel like they intended it for it to be a single creature. But it moves so fast and appears just so flat in its position immediately, that it gives the appearance of being multiple creatures. Like, I don't dare try to jump attack him or anything to try to go around any of the bullets or anything, because the odds are I'll just collide with him instead. And I am off tempo again, and we're dead. That's fine, though, because we were at 0 lives. I really should just start binning that 0 off the map, I think, immediately. Because the risk of ending up getting sent all the way back is very high. Disagree that that bullet hit. Yeah, but see, like, I could stall here, but that doesn't help anything. He won't move until I approach him. But if I get close enough, I can use the duck to protect me from his first shot. So there's that. fucking baited. The spread on those is so disgusting. Like, this phase is not really a threat, except for the fact that sometimes it fires a bullet when it's basically got the gun against your forehead. Like, I would really rather that fired in a pattern when you're approaching instead of it firing based on where you are when you're walking along that path there. Just because it's so easy to get screwed by the platforms because it tracks. Like, obviously that's the intention, but it's just so goddamn mean. Like, right here in particular, that should have shot higher because I jumped, but it didn't. And that's why I have a problem with it, is because it's hard to actually make it do what you want. Because I had to hit the one that was gonna land in front of me. I didn't have the timing. Burn in Hellbots, please. Ideally the ones who made you as well. It ate my jump. Because I definitely pressed jump. I tried to, like, delay as much as possible and then jump. There's a specific state of the floor there where it's too late. And the fact that this is mostly a fake out where you can walk under those bullets is so fucking nasty, by the way. Like, that's just unnecessarily mean. Because it's designed to kill people like me that react to things when they see them, because obviously I see that bullet and it's like at hair height, so I'm like, oh, it's gonna hit me. I need to deal with that. But it doesn't actually hit you. It's all a lie. We're just gonna go ahead and get rid of the 0th life. There's no point. The good news is, based on how many continues we've used, it's incredibly unlikely that there's a limit to the amount of continues. Because most normal limits of continues would have run out by now. Okay, we managed to get it here with full health. Now to watch as I lose it all. Case in point. It's almost like I know how these things work or something. We at least got to the second phase again with lives, but it depends on if they actually give you a checkpoint at all here or not. Like, I like this attack pattern better. Oh, and that's not even a checkpoint. Of course it fucking isn't. Why would this stage have checkpoints? That would be silly. What a concept. A final stage or a really late stage having checkpoints? What kind of game do I think this is? This game would have really benefited from, like, being able to, like, hold the hammer out. And not just when you're ducking. Just specifically for this stage. Like, not even, you don't need it any other time, but this stage in particular, being able to, like, hold the hammer out and even if it slowed you down, being able to hold the hammer out would make this section of this fight way more consistent. Instead of it being a crapshoot whether you happen to get the 1 frame timing on hitting that point-blank shot. Because that's the problem, is how close you have to get in order to hit him, but he still shoots at that range. That's the problem. He really shouldn't have been allowed to shoot at point-blank range. It would be better if he started running at that range, rather than shooting 1 more shot at that very, very close range. And I'd say that not because it would be easier, but it would be a lot more consistent. Rather than you just happening to get punished because you just were off by a single frame. Like there, I swung, but I still got shot anyway. That's what makes that so finicky, is the fact that he shoots at literally, like, the bullet spawns on top of you range, which is not good. Like, the good news is our success is inevitable. They cannot stop me, because I cannot actually run completely out of lives. But it is not going to be a fun experience getting there. Based on the fact there's no checkpoint, losing the 0th life doesn't actually benefit me at all, so we're just gonna book it. And with the fire rate, you'll notice I dodged that 1 bullet, but I got shot anyway, because the bullets were so backed up against each other that there's just no winning that. Like, the ideal scenario, other than running into that close bullet there, for example, would be to chase after him enough that he only gets 2 shots off. Like, him getting 2 shots is the best case scenario we can ask for this bit at here right now. Because the 3rd shot's almost always the one that hits us, case in point with that last one there. Oh, great, I'm so glad you got to have a shot at point-blank range again, you stupid son of a bitch. I don't know what ghost bitch wrought you, but they should have stayed in purgatory where they belong. Really? I pulled back so hard that I still got hit there. Like, this is the problem I have with that, is I feel like there's just no counterplay there. If there was anything I could reliably do there to fight back, I would not be as upset with this. But again, I feel like there's no counterplay, because they're shooting at exactly the right angle where your attacks also cannot protect you. Like, I can block some of those bullets, but most of them I can't. Because it's the exact same problem of you can't attack down that I talked about before. Because that's another thing that would solve the main problem with this section of the stage, is if you could attack down, you would then have a counter to that problem, and it would actually become a case of, okay, you just have to be better, rather than you just have to get arguably lucky. And that's the main point where I draw the line with a lot of these things, is the moment where it starts to feel more like luck than you being capable, is where this becomes questionable. Like, case in point there, I feel like that was just bad luck that I happened to get at another bullet shot at me there. Was it actually luck? No, but getting a reliable landing there is a crapshoot. Because you have to be that exact step forward. And that's a level of precision that is basically gambling at that point. You're beyond the ken of what you can reasonably expect. If it comes down to every single, like, pixel step matters, that's beyond any expectation you can have of your average player. Especially when you combine it with situations like that, where I was actively hitting him, and he shot again anyway. Like, I would actually be happier if this game had bad hitboxes instead. And that's a hell of a thing to say. Is at least the bad hitboxes I can have something to laugh about. This is just like, hey, we machined this down to like a nanometer. Hope you can figure it out. Which is so great when it just eats your jumps. And obviously, there's a place for this level of precision. I'm not saying that games should not require precision. I'm saying there's a balance point for that, and this doesn't hit it. Like, this ends up being past that point in my mind. Like, that is just, like, one step too far. Quite literally. If it was one step back from where it is, it would actually be butter. It would be great. Because it would require a good amount from you, but not so much that you have to be perfect. Like, right there. That's what I need to do every time. Good fucking luck at doing exactly that every time. And that's why I say it basically becomes luck at that point. Because I can't tell you where the fuck that was. Like, I obviously can't sit there and measure exactly what pixel I was on while keeping track of what's going on everywhere around me and everything. That's just not fucking possible. Well, for 90% of people. That 10%'s terrifying. That 10% is fucking incredible. But if you're designing a game for that 10%, you are in an interesting position. There he goes, shooting at point-blank range again. I hate this so much. Like, this has to be the last stage. There's no world in which this isn't the last stage with just how disgusting this is. Yep, see, I can't always get through there without getting hit. Like, I'm starting to get a little more consistent with threading the needle there, but it's very, very fiddly. To, like, an unnecessary degree. And we're once again back down to one hit when we go to the popcorn machine. God damn it. And the worst part is, there's no enemies. If there were enemies in this stage, this would actually be better. And that's an odd thing for me to say, I know, but the reason I say that is because then there would at least be power-ups. You wouldn't just be getting ground down and you wouldn't be relying on literally only 3 hit points for this entire nonsense pool they're doing here. Which is why this requires this asinine level of precision, is because you have no leeway. The moment you make any mistakes, you're hooped. Like I am right now. I'm down to 1 hit. I have to be perfect from here or it's over. And obviously, that level of perfection is possible. But for your average human player, it's nigh on impossible to keep that level of perfection consistently. Especially when it just eats your jumps sometimes, because you're just a frame late on jumping off the platform. Because you have to delay that long to not get shot. This is why that's a questionable combination. Which, I'll give them one thing, at least them jumping off of the platform and running from you doesn't break the platform they were standing on and make you have to go faster. Like, you would have to, like, jump to the platform as they leave it or something stupid like that. At least they didn't go that sadistic with it. But just, like, it's still not okay. You know what would actually make this a better fight, and I can't believe I'm saying this, is if I damaged him by hitting his projectiles back. If that was the way to hurt him instead of hitting him, this would actually be a lot better. Because then that would eliminate the he shoots at point blank range sometimes problem entirely. Now, the problem with that idea is then you would actually have an advantage in this phase when you're pursuing. Because obviously you would just defeat him before you get to the fight to begin with. So I obviously can tell that that's part of why they didn't do that. Because it would be that, or they would have... Well, he's probably invincible on the way to this segment anyway, so I guess that wouldn't actually be a real problem. But right there, again, he shoots at point blank range, which is fucking stupid. Like, obviously, from a realistic standpoint, it makes sense. Obviously, shoot the guy that's up against the barrel of your gun. You can't miss at that point. But from a video game standpoint, just like, okay, did you really have to do a bad job of coding this thing so that it doesn't have a safety net there? Did you really? Like, obviously, part of it is I'm getting punished for trying to rush it, but if I don't rush it, I end up with a different gamble of I have to sit there and keep hammering more and more bullets away until I manage to approach, and I have the exact same problem once I do get in range then. Also, that was a lot of fucking bullets. I was just banking on that bullet not hitting me for some reason. Yep. That bullet hitting me, that one was my fault. That one I'll acknowledge was my fault. There's a bunch of these that have been my fault. But there's as many that are bad design. Like that one, I literally can't defend myself at that range. The moment the end of my hammer is past the barrel of his gun, I cannot protect myself anymore. I lose any ability to defend against his attack, and yet he can still attack. In case people didn't understand why the point blank was a problem. Okay. Like, I would also accept it if my hammer could deflect that projectile still consistently. But that's the other problem, is it doesn't work consistently. And the moment you lose consistency is when your game starts becoming a mess. It doesn't help that the, like, popcorn nonsense he's doing is almost designed specifically to wend its way between where your two attacks go, because obviously we can attack here and we can attack here. We can't really attack in between without jumping. Which, that might be what they want you to do, though, is just do a bunch of, like, tiny hops to protect yourself from the popcorn machine. I don't really understand what they want there. Yeah, I walked right into that bullet piece of timing. This continues that endless trend I've talked about, where the last stage of games literally ruin the games. This is just so fucking bad compared to everything we've gone through up to this point. Like, I'm not even saying, oh, it's bad because difficult. It's like, no, it's bad because it's stupidly designed. Like, this is in excess compared to the rest of the game. Because they established a balance by you being able to get so many power-ups throughout the rest of the game, and then they ripped that all away from you at this point. Like, the only thing I can think of that would make what's happening right now reasonable is if this thing is the final boss and we're going to just, like, defeat it and then the game's over. That is at least somewhat okay. I still don't agree with that, but I could at least see the vision there. Yay, I got hit anyway. Haha. Like, they spent all this time making a really interesting setup for this stage in the background and everything. And I can't really tell you how much time I've spent being able to look at it because of the fact that I'm having to essentially do fucking bullet hell level bullet grazing the whole way through this stage. Like, thinking about it, that's what this reminds me of at this point, is the way bullet hells expect you to understand that your model doesn't matter, your hitbox isn't your full model. So you're expected to, like, literally fucking touch bullets in half of those. Which is just a mental fucking nightmare. There goes a jump again. The fact that we're only a half hour over the how long to beat time with how much we've died, by the way, tells me that most people who have played this in submitted times probably also died a lot. Again, assuming this is the final stage. Which, there's no guarantee of that. This could just be, like, the second to last stage for all I know. gets a cheap shot on me at the end, so I don't have the extra hit. Fucking course he does. We do have ads coming up. Just be advised on that one. Jump attacks do seem to be the answer here, aside from when he's flying over. Flying over, unlike the previous iteration, you shouldn't jump attack. I shouldn't have swung at that. I feel like I'm playing baseball and I swung at a ball that was halfway out into the fucking ether. And then I just had a fucking stupid moment. I'm gonna need to borrow Harry's hammer after this so I can forget that this game happened. Okay, the ads have started, so we'll hang out right here, because nothing's gonna happen here anyway, and it's not like this game has a timer. This is gonna be a helpful pause overall. So I can take a moment, get up, stretch, decompress, and hopefully come at this fresher and be able to get through this. Back in a moment. Alright, we'll be back in business here shortly. A good stretch to the back woke me up a little bit, so hopefully that will help. Just checking on a couple things to make sure I'm not missing anything important while we wait out the last little bit of ad here. There's not really that much going on, it looks like, so shouldn't really be missing anything, but it is what it is. I wish I could say that the stretching woke up my brain completely, but not especially. Also, yeah, as usual, coordinating things on the side, like coordinating the peak for next week, for example. Which I'm technically not the one running that one, but, you know. I'm still participating in the organizing anyway, because that's what I always do. Okay, welcome back from the ads, everybody. As you can see, nothing's changed. We're still in hell. Let's see if a little bit of a brain reset is what I needed to be able to make this happen. Ooh. We got a loop, we got a loop. And I fucking shouldn't have said anything. The second I said we had a loop, I got shot. I, of all people, should know how susceptible to jinxing I am, and yet, there I go jinxing myself. Now, the all-important question of how many hits does this phase take? Ah! One eaten input, that's all it takes. Because that was supposed to be a jump swing, and it just went, nah. Oh, that's why there's a ping. Okay. I was like, why is there a random ping the second I stopped looking at Discord? Is somebody's bot misfired? There we go. Smooth. And we'll get rid of that notification. Which the multiple pings like that happening is why I personally shy away from, like, the add everyone pings on your Discord bots and such. Because you end up with situations like that where people get repeatedly pinged. And as I've talked about many times, I hate getting random pings. If there's ever, like, a specific pet peeve I have, it's that. We actually got to phase 3. He's still not fucking dead. What the fuck? Okay. Huh. How many hits does this segment take? I would assume, actually thinking about it more, probably the same amount of hits the other segments took. No, he's taking more hits than that, which is annoying. There we go. Why is there yet another ping? Yep, this is exactly what I'm talking about. Where you have situations where somebody's bot just goes apeshit and pings like 7 times. Very slowly approaching. Orb! Okay, this gives health. Where was this the whole fucking stage? You son of a bitch. Which, on the note of those pings, though, maybe it's just me, but I feel like it's stupid on the part of Discord, where if you suppress notifications, all it does is silence them. It doesn't actually remove the, like, number going up from that server. I feel like it shouldn't even pop up the number anymore if you've suppressed the pings in a server. But then again, why am I expecting anything to work on Discord at this point? In a way that makes any sense. Okay, that was actually a great way to get health back. I didn't expect it to die with that hit, otherwise I would have waited a little longer. Okay, looks like we got another situation like that coming up here, though. Literally just another one lowering down. I'm assuming it's gonna spawn different enemies now, though. Now it spawns bombs. But it still hit him. Okay. I thought maybe I was gonna have to hit the bombs back at it. Like the boss we had before that was the bomb guy. The only ones you really gotta watch out for are the bombs that go down to 1 as they hit the floor. So you're telling me... hang on, we need to have a conversation about what just happened there. You're telling me that that thing wasn't valid for me to hit, and yet it had a hitbox where it could do contact damage to me? Huh. Sure. Yep, and we're back out here because it was a continue. Yeah, kinda figured. Like, for this thing to just be the front gate guard, this being a 3-phase fight is stupid. Like, that is overkill. Considering we haven't even had a 2-phase boss up until this point. This is, again, them just deciding to turn the dial and then rip the dial off the wall for this stage compared to the rest of the game. Like, you could probably make this, from this point forward, the entire game, and it probably would take roughly the same amount of time to beat it. There he goes again, shooting at point-blank range, because this game's fucking stupid. Let me explain a little bit better why the problem's here for that. And I think I'm starting to understand what causes him to shoot at point-blank range. They fucked up. Is what happens is there's a specific threshold where he'll run. If you are before that threshold, he'll obviously shoot. If you're after that threshold, he also shoots. That's the problem. It shouldn't just be a narrow bar threshold there. It should be from this spot towards him, but it isn't. I think that's actually where this is going wrong. Now that I've actually, like, sat there and really looked at it more, and I'm just gonna throw myself into the pit here, because I have 1 hit left already. Now I make it on 0 lives again. Just scream. Nope. We've already taken a hit. This is fucking Jover. Yep. Yeah, that absolutely is the thing. If I just walk too close... But the problem is there's literally like a 1-step difference between safe and not safe. And short of me sitting there and measuring from like the pillars up above, there's no fucking way I'm gonna be able to get that to be consistent. Which, good luck telling that in the moment. That's the kind of shit people will sit there and like analyze VOD footage for. Like, I can get close with just eyeballing it, but especially in the moment, I ain't gonna be able to measure that out completely. Not without having a little bit more time to breathe in there, and I don't have that. You son of a bitch with your last fucking second bullets over and over again. Like, I will continue to die on the hill of if 90% of games just remove their final stages, they would all be improved. Like, remove the final stage, remove the final boss, and everyone comes out of it a lot happier. Because there's so many just, like, dog shit final stages and final bosses in a very long stretch of gaming. Including today, because there's plenty of bad final bosses even made today. Because people have never fucking learned. And they're not going to. I don't even think that bullet made contact, and yet here we are, basically dead, so just throw myself in the fucking hole again. This is a perfect example of that hesitation gets you killed thing I was talking about, though, because again, there's like a pixel difference between him shooting you and you getting through without being shot. I don't even know if this is fucking worth continuing, but I'm gonna keep going because at least I got to this phase again. You know what would have also massively improved this stage, though? If they really wanted to keep this fuckery going with the multiple stages for this guy? Make the stages of his forms checkpoints. Stop jerking yourself off about your game design and make fucking checkpoints. Because otherwise you end up with this exact scenario we have here of it becoming a real case of I feel like I'm wasting my time now redoing things that we've clearly managed to do already. And since that mini-boss with the monster spawner literally heals you, unless you make mistakes, it doesn't even matter if you come through this in decent shape. Like, this is completely irrelevant. How you get through this, aside from just getting through this without losing all of your lives. Like, there's obviously always a line of, this isn't bad design, this is just not for me. This one's definitely stepped across the line into bad design. Not as heavily as I'm making it sound, but it is definitely across that line. Like, not that I'm shocked that there's bad design in this game, considering what happened with the PSP game and how very questionable some segments of that were, too. I was just about to say, it also is a matter of a lot of this fight, once you get it down, just straight up does not fucking matter. It's like, you'll notice that the jump attack spamming was working. Because that phase and this phase have the same weakness of just pressure it the right way, and you just win it basically for free. Which makes this just pointless. If anything, if you get this exact right tempo down, this phase is actually easier than the last one, which is stupid. I knew I was gonna make that mistake at least once. Is I'm hitting the point where I'm just so fucking done with this part. Yeah, you'll notice that's not even a checkpoint. Literally the building, I have to assume, is the checkpoint. At least we're here with 2 hits. Can I actually hold on to that hit? Less likely than you think. Case in point, because I just happened to nudge forward into the side of that bullet, I lost my extra hit again. Because that's just how fucking picky that is. Oh, and he just happened to fire the exact right bullet right at the end again. I love fighting just a crapshoot constantly. That's my favorite thing. I'm not bitter at all. Why would I be bitter? I'm having a great time. I'm not dealing with game design of somebody who should be studied in a jar. Yep. And of course he gets that exact bullet off again. I was gonna say this phase doesn't have the problem of him shooting and just getting really lucky, despite being within the range of him moving away. But no, apparently that phase has the same problem. We just got lucky the first time, I guess. And of course I say the L word and I immediately am cursed. And I'm losing it again. Fucking losing it again. You know, usually I'm not an advocate for bullying, but maybe the people that made this should have been bullied more. I get the feeling that they were a bunch of bullies themselves, because they're certainly bullying anybody who's foolish enough to play their game. So, you know, maybe they're the problem. Okay. I actually got through here with 2 hits. What a fucking miracle that is. And watch as I bin it into the hole. No? Surprisingly not. Okay, you can actually get, like, a lot of hits in there. Yep, I knew I was gonna botch it. I got way too greedy because I'm like, maybe I can get away with just sitting here and hitting him. But then I had that same moment I have so often where I have that idea, but then I change my mind and I immediately fuck myself over. Oh, just fucking kill me. Christ. Ugh. Why do I do these things sometimes? Like, it's times like this where I genuinely wonder why I do this to myself. And half the answer is ideally for the entertainment of others, but I wonder how entertaining it gets when we get to this point. Because we're really reaching the situation that that life system I was pondering is designed to prevent. Where I spend a really long time stuck and getting frustrated at a specific part of something. Like, is that gonna mean a lot less things get finished? Probably. Does it mean I'll be in a better mood for a lot more streams? Yeah. Yeah, I would say yes. I really just gotta watch out for the high flyer. I can't believe I threaded that needle. It also doesn't bounce quite the way you think it does, which was fucking with me. Because you'll notice it goes up and then it drops straight down instead of continuing the arc with the high bouncing one. It almost caught me a couple times. It actually saved me at least once when it did the weird drop as well. Because there were definitely a couple times where if it continued the arc, it would have hit me. But of course, you know, here we are once again with no health, no lives. But we're back in the facility at least. So, you know, we got that going for us. Come on, drop health, please. You did it before. Where's the health? You're just gonna not do it this time? There we go. Now that we're a solid way back to full health, it made sense to take a swing at him. Of course, that's the risk, is potentially losing the health. I think he's down to his last hit, so let's try to get that one more hit point. Because that one more hit point might make a difference. Oh no, he had another hit left. Well, shame these guys don't drop attack ups or defenses or anything. Oh no, they just had more health than I thought. Okay. By a long shot, apparently. Oh, now you're just dropping health aplenty. Okay. And it despawns it when he dies, too. Not that we'd be able to backtrack for it anyway. But at least we have full health for the moment. And for bomb time. This one I feel like I have to be pretty quick about, otherwise the bombs are gonna get out of hand. It would help the strategy of staying away from him and hitting just the target if he was more frequently hittable. But thankfully that had less hits than the monster spawning ones, so they at least were reasonable about that. Okay, we got a funny door and another spawner. Okay, they are just sending another one of these down. Okay, what does this one do? What is this gonna spawn? Oh, it spawns murder balls. Okay. I wish I could stop at this point, Tara. This is... yeah. That's actually a very good showcase of how a lot of this stage has been. It's like, hey, I hope you're ready for it being terrible, because this entire stage has been garbage. This stage is way longer than, like, anything else in this game has been. It has so much going on. And this fucking guy is just dying of fire. Case in point, he gets those random shots sometimes at point-blank range. That, no, I will not shut up about, because that's terrible. And you have to do this 3 times. As he does different annoying bullet patterns. The worst part is, that spike ball thing I died to, that's the 2nd time in this stage that they do that. You'll see here in a minute that this thing also does the spike ball thing. Just in a much more reasonable pattern than what we just had a moment ago. I don't know what the hell they were on about with this stage. See, it throws 1 high, 1 low, which is a lot more reasonable than what we were just doing. Which is obviously why it couldn't fly. We couldn't have anything be reasonable in this game. Okay, we actually got through there with 3 lives and 2 hits. We might actually get to not have to fight this stupid thing every time I die. Oh, what a time to be alive. Yeah, it's rough. Throughout the rest of the game, it was fine, but in this stage, they're asking so much more of you. That does not work with the way this game functions. Like, I think that's the biggest problem, is the fact that this does not match up with the rest of the game, particularly. And the fact that you do 3 of these stupid hanging ball things back to back is also unnecessary. That's the problem, is it feels like you're meant to play it methodically, but you can't with the way this stage is designed, because it's constantly firing an entire armada of shit at you, so you have no breathing space to be methodical. Like, the two sides of it are at odds with each other, and it just doesn't work. And I don't even know what the final boss looks like yet. We haven't gotten that far. I almost want to think that this is like this game's equivalent of a boss rush, but it can't be. Because we didn't encounter bosses that functioned like these. Like, this bomb thing was what one of the bosses did. But everything else we've been doing in here is not the same as what a boss did. The earlier bosses in this game were actually really interesting for the most part. And then we had this stupid nonsense. Like, they just added this on at the last minute because they needed a final stage or something. And God forbid there be any healing in here other than the first one of those hanging orbs. That's the other thing I have a problem with. This game has been very generous with healing and power-ups aside from this stage. This stage just doesn't fit. Yep. It doesn't help that the bounce pattern on those things is inconsistent, it looks like. I haven't lived long enough to really get a great look at it, but it looks inconsistent. Yeah, I didn't figure that it was going to be a checkpoint up there. I'm happy enough that at least it's a checkpoint in the building. This does at least mean I get to full health for the rest of this bullshit every time. But still. And bear in mind, this is a Game Boy game. You would be dealing with this and having to worry about the battery on your Game Boy running out the entire time you're doing all this. I sure hope you didn't reach the final stage with a low battery, because you're fucked. Like, the PSP game at least had the benefit of it saved, so you knew you'd be safe there, even if the PSP's battery died. This, as far as I'm aware, doesn't save, because why would it? And it doesn't have passwords or anything either, so if your Game Boy died, you're starting this game over. Which, that aspect of it wouldn't be terrible. It only took us like an hour to get to this stage, give or take. But it's now taken us an extra hour and a half on this stage itself, just about. Which is the part I have an issue with. I feel like this has very massively outstayed its welcome. Yep. And because this thing takes so fucking long to be hittable, I get screwed again. So I have one hit for the final bit again. And the problem is, hitting those bombs is janky. So, I would otherwise take my time and, like, push those bombs away constantly, but A, they're spawning so fucking many, and B, you don't always hit them when you hit them. So it's just, none of it fucking matters. Yep, bad bounce right off the rip. For my own sanity, I really should have put a save state down when I walked in here. But I've chosen not to because I'm feeling like an idiot today. And, well, here we are. Like, it's even extra insulting when they're dropping all of that extra health that I can't do anything with. Like, maybe if you had sprinkled even a third of this excess health throughout the rest of your fucking stage, maybe this would actually be doable. Well, by a sane and reasonable human being. Not me, obviously, because I'm too stubborn to be a sane and reasonable human being. I would have recommended most any reasonable people to have given up on this game by this point. Like, just count it as a win that you got to this stage and just forget this game existed. You'll be much happier. Like, look at that. That specific bomb timing there is just like, what am I meant to do here? I don't know why the other one stopped spawning them, but I'll take it. Like, these go off so fast, there's so many of them. Like, I just don't see how that's reasonable at all. But at least I got through it with 2 hits instead of 1 this time. Not that it matters, considering you can get 2 hit in this segment in, like, 2 seconds. And they make you wait for the fucking thing to come down every time, making me just all the more upset. Immediate bad bounce, again. I gotta stop. I need to never step right there. That specific spot, I need to just remove that spot from this map. If I step there, I'm dead. Every time. Yeah, exactly. It's just terrible. Which is such a shame. The rest of this game was really fun. And this just sucks all of the fun out of everything. Continuing that trend I talked about just a little while ago of games just falling flat on their face at the end. Because some designer got a stick up their ass and thought pissing off the player was the only way to make a final stage. I just genuinely don't get it. Like, you can make the excuse of, like, well, the player's committed at this point. They clearly won't just give up now that they made it to the final stage, right? Here's where we don't have to care about our game design anymore. Which, it's worrying that that logic probably did apply in some of these cases. What Harry's doing right here is what I want to do to the cartridge. Just smash the fucking thing. I don't even have it physically here, and I want to hit it with a hammer anyway. Seriously considering hitting in a random section of my hard drive and hoping this game's in it. Okay, we at least came out of that with an extra hit, though that having contact damage up there is also unnecessary. Like, imagine how tight this must have all looked on an actual Game Boy screen, where it's even smaller than it is for us right now. There's, like, no fucking room to maneuver at all. Yeah, both edges are just so fucking bad. But you have to move to the edges some of the time, as I've demonstrated. But where are you meant to go? You're not fast enough to outmaneuver the fucking death ping pong balls that are bouncing all around that room. I just don't fucking understand. Hang on. I need to look at something. Okay, that at least confirms one thing. This is definitely based on an arcade game. Which is something that was pretty clear based on how this has been. Well, good news, right after all of the tunnel we've been in is the final battle. Yeah, that's basically the situation. Like, this is not actually a port of the arcade game, but it's attached to it. Like, anything in the same series as an arcade game tends to carry over a lot of the arcade problems. Like, I could definitely see somebody setting up a coin slot to this game and making bank, because you are going to be draining your fucking wallet of quarters just to get through even half of this final stage. And just to hammer the point home more, the walkthrough I just looked at also isn't even sure if it's 9 or 10 hits to kill the final boss. And that's coming from somebody that likes this game, that they said that this section is terrible. Like, they specifically use the word annoying for the cave section. And they said that they love this game. And they're calling that section annoying. So that should tell you a lot. Like, there are so many ways you could fix this section of the game. One would be just even, like, a single bit of healing during this section, where you're chasing the robot around, would make a massive difference. Not having 3 different segments of tubes would make a massive difference. Like, one or the other. Have 3 of this fucking guy, or have 3 of the tubes. Don't have both. Like, at the very least, the 1 heal per section would at least, like, make it much more forgiving, instead of a guaranteed you lose if you just get drained down just wrong. Like, this is just too long for its own good. Like, what we just did there could have been its own stage entirely, with how long the rest of the stage in this game has been. That also would have helped, is if that was, like, the bonus stage in between stages. But it already did a bonus thing where it gave me 9 lives and then some. Which was my warning signal about the fact that this section was gonna be dog shit. Like, it was literally just raining extra lives before we got to this section. And I feel like if I had done better at the beginning, when I had those 9 lives, we probably would have been through this by now. But the problem is, the learning curve on that section is just so disgusting that obviously didn't happen. Not to mention, this stage has no power-ups. They basically may as well have coded the helmet defense upgrade and the hammer upgrade out of the game for the fact that neither of them exist in this stage. That's another thing that would help, is if you actually had actual power-ups in this stage at all, anywhere. Instead of it basically just being pure boss rush with no thought put into it at all. What I'm hoping is that the final boss at least is a checkpoint in and of himself, so if I can get there with more than 1 life, we at least I'll have more than 1 try at it. Such fucking bad bomb placement. Yep, I may as well just fucking give up now. I'm not going to, but I should just accept the death at this point, because 1 hit for the spike ball section just means I lose. I want to check something. Did that walkthrough say anything helpful about the... No, it literally just says, hey, the last one has 2 bouncing iron maces. Then you automatically open the door. It doesn't even say anything to help you with the pattern for those stupid balls or anything. Just like, hey, yeah, no. Those balls exist. Like, great, thanks. Thanks. That's the same one. Thanks, GameFAQs. So guess what? Both the NES game and the Game Boy game both are in the same section in GameFAQs. Because God forbid they have their own sections, so... There's only the 1 walkthrough for this version of the game. I couldn't, like, compare to another one and get anything useful out of that. Thankfully, at least I did read the right one the first time, otherwise that would have been a problem. The only reason I knew the difference is because I knew what the beginning plot of the NES game talked about, so I could recognize it quickly. I did the same fucking stupid mistake again because, you know, obviously your first reaction when you see an orb flying at you is to step one way or the other. I just keep getting the wrong move out of the 50-50 there. Because you also wouldn't expect one of them to, like, super ball halfway across the damn field immediately. At least I wouldn't. Maybe I'm the one that's wrong. I don't know. Like, I feel like I need to just get to the spike balls with full health if possible, but good luck with that fucking idea with just bomb spam aplenty happening. Depending on how much longer this takes to get through, this may genuinely turn into a one and done instead of me beating multiple games. Just because I don't know if I'm gonna have the patience for any other games after this. So I'm already really fucking over this idea at this point with just this game. Like, for example, if this takes the whole next hour, obviously we are definitely done after this game. That's exactly the problem, yeah. Like, I feel like a lot of the skill has gone out of what we do here. It's just, hey, you better just hope that things work out for you. Or you just happen to not wear out. Okay, at least we got through with 3. I would have had a better result there, but they started just dropping so many, I couldn't keep managing it anymore. Should just stand on this side right off the bat, because it looks like they just fly across, like, immediately. Yeah, but it's not a safe spot, though. There is no safe areas at all. Like, look at that. With the amount of movement speed you have, they cover too much ground. Like, I just genuinely don't understand how they expect the player to survive that. There's gotta be a trick to it. I just don't know what it is. And I feel like if it was hitting the spike balls, the walkthrough would have mentioned doing that. But it doesn't. But if I get there with decent health, it may be worth trying hitting the spike balls, and that might literally just be the answer to everything. At which point, I'm gonna be a little bit more forgiving, but also really fucking mad. Because in what world would you think to hit giant metal spike ball with your tiny little wooden mallet? Like, knocking the bombs away is one thing. That makes sense because your hammer's bigger than the bomb. That's guaranteed logic that you'd be able to fling that. But that's the point I'm getting at now, is I feel like I have to try something stupid like that. Sounds good. Enjoy your pizza. At least you will not need to see this for a bit. Yep, and now it immediately went wrong. There we go. Got through with 3 hits left again. Could have had all 5, but I just got caught in a bad loop and just got fucked. But it's enough health to try hitting them. Nope, you can't hit them. Yep, and I just get fucking patterned again. The problem is, I keep going to the exact wrong side every time. Because I don't know what it is about the way they move, but I cannot read them. I'm getting, like, nothing out of looking at them. They couldn't have at least done me a solid and had different music out here and in there, either. I liked this song to begin with, and I hate it now. I'm just so fucking over this bullshit they've got going on here. Of course he gets a hit in right at the last second. Of course he fucking does. If I could rip that blaster off his arm and make him swallow it, I fucking would right now. Okay. I'm not gonna bother stopping for the ads at the second. I would like to get through this part before I pause for ads, because it doesn't fucking matter. You've seen me fight this thing innumerable times at this point. So it's not like anybody's missing anything by missing me bashing this thing upside the head with a hammer. Yeah, especially since it does the whole let's get busy thing as well. You would really think that that would just be like a complete other stage and your continue point would be here. But it isn't. Because of course it isn't. Full disclosure, I did put a save state down here this time, just so we don't have to keep redoing the first part. Because, as you can see, I got here with full lives. That section is now irrelevant. But I'm gonna go ahead and get up, stretch again in a little bit, and refill my water, etc. Back in a moment. Okay, we're just about back from ads now. Welcome back from ads, everybody. As you can see, I finished off the one last fight there was, got us in here. For anybody that missed it because of the ads, I did put a save state down. We're never doing that section before this again, because I got here with full lives again. It's irrelevant at this point. All that is busy work to get through that part again. I even got through it with 2 hits. So I feel that it is fair to have that save state. If I was still struggling with it, like I was before, I would absolutely just keep doing it. But once you perfect something just about, I don't see any reason to bother doing it ever again. That should help cut the padding down and make this less frustrating. Because I'll be honest, for me personally, that's what actually makes things like this more frustrating, is the amount of it you have to redo that you might have already gotten through smoothly and perfectly. Because it basically feels like you are completely unrewarded for having done something well at that point. Because you then just have to do it again. That's your reward, is having to do it again, unless you did everything perfectly. And let me tell you, having to redo something, not a reward. Get my squats in. Make sure Hammerin Harry here is limbered up and ready to fight. Okay. Like, the early parts of the bomb patterning really isn't that bad. It's when it starts doing this, where it's spawning a bunch of them from both sides, that it starts getting overwhelming. And again, the problem is as much it takes so long to be able to hit this thing again. That makes this the problem. But we actually got through with a personal best. That's 4 hits that we managed to save. But the problem is it's going to take 6 hits to kill the spike ball thing here. Based on what I saw and what I was counting when I was fighting the other ones. Which, that's the other thing. 6 hits for these is excessive. 3 would be good. Because of how long they take to reset, I feel like 3 would be reasonable for these. Also, I got hit twice there, I would like to point out. And I'm dead already, because what's iframes? Oh right, something this game doesn't fucking have. So we just got robbed there because of the fact that on the bounce, you don't have iframes at all. Zeri, thank you for the raid. What were you up to today? Hopefully y'all were having a grand time with whatever it was. You're just in time for arguably one of the worst final stages ever made for a Game Boy game. But of course, if any of y'all need to raid and run, please make sure to do so. Taking care of yourselves should be your first priority. Oh, you shouldn't be. But, you know, hopefully somebody at least will have fun in watching this happen. What were you playing, Zeri? First, we gotta wait for the slow falling orb. Ah, okay. So you were already in your own nightmare zone at first, then. But hopefully Elden Ring's continuing to treat you well, because I know you were having a decently good time with it before when we talked about it. In case people didn't catch what game this is Hammerin Harry Ghost Building Company for the Game Boy. It's a very good game until you get to this stage. This stage, they basically threw the whole thing... Yeah, I feel much the same right now about this game. Which I assume is part of why you went and played Repo, is to get away from Elden Ring for a bit. Which one? Isn't there more than one of them? And I think only one of them technically has a boss health bar, do they? I don't remember. It's been too long since I dealt with that, and a lot of it's been... Oh, okay. That one's kind of nasty. The other one that I was thinking of is arguably worse, I would think. But yeah, for being at right at the beginning, that guy's a nightmare. I don't think I ever actually went back and dealt with him. I fought him a couple times and went, I'm over this idea, and moved on with my life. Yeah, welcome to Bomb Hell. Population, lots of bombs. Bombs are usually my friend. These are not my friends. That's the way of it, usually. Then the closer you get, the worse it feels. I definitely know that feeling oh too well. Okay, we got through this part with 4 hits. Right after this is the biggest issue with this stage. There's also a whole other section before this that if I have to continue, I would normally have to do all of that again too, which is a 3-stage chase against a robot that just shoots at you constantly, which was really annoying. You're not gonna have to see that, because I've now put a save state before the first of these tubes, and I'm just never doing that part again. And that's all one stage, by the way. And the final boss is behind this door right here. So I'm still gonna have to do one more fight after this, too. This is the problem. These things are out of control. Yeah, no, I wasn't kidding when I said this stage is bad. This stage is terrible. And every time I die to that tube, I have to do all the other tubes again. So yeah, that's where I'm at right now. Just a bit. Yeah, no, I'm not even gonna say sorry to them. I'm sorry they had a job that led to them making this. That's about all I'm sorry for. And I'm sorry to anyone who had to deal with this game growing up, because they might be traumatized now. My capacity for forgiveness left about 20 attempts into this stage ago. Like, I gave all my reasoning and all my leeway as I was going. It's like, there's a world in which this was rushed or something, and that is a little forgivable. But they put a lot of work into making this section awful, where it doesn't feel like it was rushed, it just feels like it was not thought through. And realizing that this is a follow-up to an arcade game makes it make a lot of sense why this is designed the way that it is. Because it's still following the arcade logic of, hey, let's just drain the player dry of everything they own so that they can keep trying to beat our terrible final section. Okay, I actually have 5 hits for once. This is the first time I've actually had full health going into the spike boss. Now, to promptly lose it all, because I'll get multi-hit again. Stand over here so the first shot goes over my head, and then just pray to God from there. I don't even worship him, but I'm gonna pray to him at this point. Because that's just where we're at now. Getting tagged by that. Like, if I could just hit him just a little faster, we'd be in business at this point. God Got it! Notice it took all of the health I had to get through that with doing it reasonably cleanly. We have 1 life and 1 health to beat this fight with, though. Yep, there's the hit. Good news is we will have 3 hits. That's the other thing, is you don't get full health when you come back to life. So we have a whole 3 health to defeat this thing. And as you can see, it's not going great so far. Because they're throwing them at the exact worst angles possible. Welcome back to the tubes. I'm at least giving myself the favor of not having to do the section before this again, but, yeah. That's the first time I've even gotten to that fight. So, I'm happy now. I at least made progress for the first time in like an hour. But, yeah. That's where we're at today. It's an extra shame because so much of this game before it was actually really fun. And they just forgot what fun was as soon as we got here. Just like there was this whole neat blimp section where you had to attack the blimp to send pieces of it to hit a ghost. There was this living nail that was jumping around. They had to keep hitting into the wall so he'd actually be hittable. There was a lot of odd and interesting things going on in this game, and then they did this. And then this happened. Yeah. Like it... And this is even fixable, like I was talking about earlier before y'all got here. This is all completely fixable as well. Like, just give the player, like, an extra hit point between these tube sections. Like, not even multiple, just 1 more hit point would go a long way to helping. Or any of the power-ups the game had before, where you'd get a helmet that blocked 1 hit, or, like, a weapon upgrade that does exist in the game, but doesn't exist in this stage, would also help. But no, just for some reason, none of that exists in this stage. And this is all just falling apart because I got into just 1 bad position and it just all went to hell in a handbasket. Like, I suppose that's the other thing that's getting to me, is this level feels like a lot of missed potential. And that sometimes is more frustrating than anything, is when something feels like it missed its potential. A little bit of extra move speed would also go a long way to making this stage more reasonable, because of what they ask of you. Needed to move something right quick. Okay. Here we go again. And of course, you know, the standby statement I made before of, if these orbs just only took 3 hits instead of 6, I don't think I would even be having a problem here at all. Like, you have 2 choices. Either have these orbs only take 3 hits, or make them not retract up all the way when you hit them so you can hit them repeatedly. Those are the 2 things that would go a long way to make this particular segment with the orbs significantly more reasonable. without even changing the fight. Like, that's just a small adjustment that would go a long way to making this a lot more fair. Because it becomes less of just a constant endurance gauntlet. And more, can you actually get at it and hit it? Like, especially since there's 3 of them. Oh, little tidbit that I know, by the way. It definitely gets a little spammy, yeah. But the thing of it is, the final boss is going to take 9 hits. We know that because when I looked at the walkthrough to make sure that I was actually going to get to the final boss after this segment, I saw that it was 9 or 10 hits to defeat that boss, and it's just like, okay, yeah, sure. Yeah, especially like here in the bomb section, it definitely sends a lot more than you can hit, unless you get really lucky. Like I just did there, where the pattern actually was playing nice. Because that's the other problem, is the pattern is somewhat random on those bombs. Like, the pattern's at least, like, set in stone for the spike balls here. Which is nice, but that's still not great in and of itself, either. See, even Harry says no. No, 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 no. Ah, I almost saved that. Come on. Okay, that's the best case scenario we've had so far. We basically are getting in there with 3 lives, because we have the same amount of health we would have for that life. And I immediately took a hit. I'm gonna go ahead and put a save state down here, though, because of how good a situation we got here with. I don't know why I just took that other hit, though. I think a bomb went off screen and still hit me. So that's great. Looks like I have to hit him at a very particular angle. Yeah, I have to hit the spike ball back to him. Really? So my hammer just didn't hit those, huh? Okay. Mm-hmm. Oh, and if he's just not even out, it doesn't count either. So that's good. Game design. I got 1 hit. I got 1 hit in. And I'm supposed to hit this thing fucking 9 times. The walkthrough talked about just standing at the edge and just holding the hammer up to protect yourself. I don't see how that logic was supposed to work at all. Like, at least standing all the way back here, the bombs aren't that much of a threat. Because you just deflect them pretty easily. It's the fact that the spike balls come in at such a bad angle a lot of the time. That's where the real threat here comes in. And obviously, if you're busy dealing with something else, a bomb can be in the exact wrong spot, too. But they're significantly less of a threat than they otherwise would be. I love the hitboxes in this game. I really do. They're so great. Okay, at least that one counted. the bombs also can help, because they do knock the spike balls back as well. So I see the vision on this fight, but this fight taking 9 hits is bad. I'm kind of baffled that somebody liked this game enough to make a walkthrough for it. And they said that they actually, they legit said that they like this game. And I guess, you know, at the end of the day, people can like literally anything, but just like, Like, if he stayed out and hittable the whole time, I would have less of an issue with this. But especially since he takes cover so much. Only having 3 hits for this fight, whereas you have to hit him 9 times, makes this just really unfair. Oh, of course he threw an entire battery of them at the right height that time. And that's the other thing. There doesn't seem to be a pattern to how he's throwing them. He's just kind of just chucking them around. Like, there's... I'm not explaining this right. Hang on. Let me pause this so I can take a moment to fucking breathe so I can explain what I'm trying to say. There's a pattern to when he sends the high ones, and there's a constant stream of the low ones. Problem is, there's no warning as to when he's gonna start launching the high ones. They just kind of happen. If they only happened when he came out, it would make sense. But you'll notice that one's airborne right there. He's nowhere to be seen. That's part of where the problem with how this pattern is designed comes in. Is it's just haphazard. It's just doing things. And the bombs just also just kind of happen. It doesn't help that a lot of those high ones are also too high for you to make use of. Like, the vast majority of these spike balls and such that are happening don't matter. They are not helpful in the slightest. He also has iframes. Much more iframes than I do. And it may look like I'm just doing a bad job of hitting those. Let me tell you, almost every object in this game that you hit has had a better hitbox than these spike balls have had. Because they've usually been pretty forgiving about being able to hit something back. These seem to be much stricter than the average item in this game. It doesn't help that, like I mentioned before, I have no iframes to speak of, so like I just got clocked by 2 back-to-back there, with no recourse about it. Because it doesn't help that this is kind of reliant on your jump attacks to have the right height, and your jump attacks have the most delay between them of any attacks you have in this game. Like, you can't just spam jump attacks like you can your ground attack. Of course, I ended up knocking back the one I needed with the bomb, so everything just went to shit again. I think the highest we've managed to get is 4 hits on him. I genuinely can't really tell ya. But, like, look at how many times the hammer clearly passes the orb. Like, right there. The hammer phased through it, and I got hit. Just bad. Like, I'm starting to see the vision as to why they said to just stand over here with your hammer up. Is of how many just aren't helpful. But then you have cases like that where I have the perfect shot and he just disappears, so it doesn't count. And that seems to be their answer to difficulty in this game as well, is just spam more things. And I've said it before, and I'll say it again about every game ever made. Spamming more is not how you make something more difficult. That's just how you make something bad. Is it becomes unmanageable. Like, I apologize to everybody that's come into this segment here, but that's just where we're at right now, unfortunately. Is the old man yells at game design segment of life. Like, I feel like this is another fight that's designed counter to how you can control. Like, look at that. Both of those just phased right through the hammer again. Like, at least there's some leeway above him where it'll count the ones that aren't perfect. But, like, if he didn't have all the iframes he has and the sheer volume of projectiles, I would be able to, like, use the lower shots and do something meaningful with those, for example. Like the ones that are just spilling out of the front. Okay, game. I would love an explanation why, when I had my hammer up, the bomb just passed through. And I have a theory, actually, as to why the hitboxes and such are being so janky here. I don't think it's actually the hitboxes. I think the game's actually getting overloaded by the amount of objects, and it's causing it to eat some of what it's supposed to be doing. Because that is a thing that can happen. Where things just won't function properly because the game is overloaded. I need to stop going for those really high ones, but I'm so fucking impatient because I'm so over this. There's a dark part of my mind that's like, what if they did the previous segment that bad on purpose? To force you to be extra impatient by the time you get to this, so you just do this so much worse. As part of how they designed this fight. I don't know if that makes it better or worse. I feel like it makes it worse. Yep, just have those just phase right through. Why not? I even heard the sound of me hitting it that time. I heard the blank noise of it making contact and it just killed me anyway. Gotta stop going for those high ones, but I'm trying to get to do anything here now, and I'm falling apart because of it. The only one he threw in that, like, entire segment, and it was as he backed off. There's so much about this fight that's just not okay. Like, if they made it just so that scoring the spike ball into the mouth counted, this would be so much more reasonable. That's... Genuinely, I would take that. That'd be all this would need to actually be fairly reasonable. Despite how kind of overkill a lot of this is, that would at least make it go somewhere sometime this century. Instead of genuinely being an endurance fight by virtue of how slow it is to get hits in. Because that's half the problem, is you genuinely have to endure like 3 times as much of his attacks because, oh look, he's just not there. Like, it's literally you lose because your opponent's a little bitch and hides in his invincibility bunker for the whole fight. That's right, I called you a little bitch. What are you gonna do about it? Answer, you're just gonna sit there and keep doing the same thing, because that's all you are. What are you gonna do about it, huh? That's right, nothing. Little bitch ghost, hiding in his corner. Little bitch ghost. You get the feeling the game could hear me, because it really dropped a lot of bombs suddenly together there. Wait a minute. I might have learned something. That does work! That might be what the walkthrough was talking about. That doesn't make sense, but you know what? We take those. New technique unlocked. Breaking the laws of physics. Use the squats. Use the squats. Use the squats. Dead. That's fine. You shall face Harry's thighs of steel. The best part is this lines them all up like perfectly as well. This is stupid, but it works. Just gotta watch out for the occasional bomb that takes a bad bounce and goes to the exact wrong location. Same with the occasional spike ball that goes to the wrong location. This is so dumb. But you know what? Like I said, we take those. By the way, this does not make this fight good or forgivable in the slightest, just in case anybody's wondering. This actually, in a lot of ways, makes it worse. Because what this tells me is more than likely the devs just did something like that in order to get through this. So they can say, oh yeah, it's beatable. It's totally beatable. But we beat the game. I'm glad they didn't turn that into a segment I had to play where I'm running out of there with the umbrella and everything. And I had to, like, fend off all this garbage coming down. The way the audience is flickering like that makes me feel like it's just an audience of ghosts watching us fight the ghosts. That's one way to get out of there. Good of those robots to just kind of stare at us when we did that, too. Ugh. So originally my plan was to try to beat multiple games today, and we're in that awkward spot of it is 3.5 hours in. I ordinarily try to go for 4 at a minimum. So now I have to decide if I want to try to beat something else. And that's where this gets complicated. And yeah, created by Tantech, presented by Irem. The end. On the bright side, that ending song probably won't get me dinged for copyright like the end song of the PSP game did. So there's that, at least. It would actually be kind of funny if it now turns out that, yeah, I did actually get dinged for copyright for that. I'm just noting it down in my completion list right quick. Oh wait, hang on. There's a thing happening. The ghosts are not actually defeated, they're rising again. I'm gonna assume this is meant to be kind of like a sequel hook thing. I interact with this at all? No. Doesn't seem like it. I can't tell if it's loop. Yeah, it's looping. But I also can't leave because I've now pressed every button and nothing's happened. Well, y'all just listen to that and watch the infinite loop of ghosts while I type this up and then figure out where we're going. Some games do just end on a screen like that. That's not actually abnormal. So that's our second game for August and our 36th for the year now. Now, let me take a look at my options that I've lined up for these Saturdays and decide what I want to deal with here. Oh, I do actually have two of those. Huh. I don't think I tested the other one, but I don't know if I feel like dealing with that right now. Yeah, you know what? Well, now let me check before I do that. So I didn't mark down how long these take.